They're among the biggest storms on Earth.
I don't want to hear that wind again.
Hurricanes can last for weeks.
It's just impossible to imagine it unless you're in it.
They can cross entire oceans and bring devastation wherever they touch land.
When you hear all the power lines and stuff just rip completely off the side of your house, that scares the hell out of you.
At their heart is an eerie zone of near calm, the eye of the storm. This is some of the most ferocious weather the Earth can produce. The ultimate in storms. Hurricanes. They're killers. Hurricanes have destroyed millions of homes with their devastating arsenal of weapons. Wind, rain, surge, and waves.
I was so scared, I think I was in shock because I wasn't functioning.
I think the worst aspect was the wind. The wind was howling at 115, 120 miles an hour. Never want to go through it again. It was terrible.
They've taken hundreds of thousands of lives all around the world.
I would evacuate the next time, definitely. I don't care if they say it's a Category 1 or Category 2, 3, or 4, or 5. I don't care what they say it is. I'm not going to stay for it. I don't want to hear that wind again.
The hurricane's weapons are awesome. Within the vast body of the storm are some of the fastest winds on Earth. In just a few days, a hurricane can produce a year's rainfall across a whole region, or bring a wall of water smashing in off the sea. We can do our best to resist them. But we may as well just turn and run, because the power of the hurricane just keeps on coming.
When it approaches, to watch the ocean change that dramatically, it's the natural adrenaline high. I mean, it's just such a feeling that you get, you know? I mean, it is nature all around you.
Each hurricane is different, an individual with its own name and its own characteristics. Each storm tells us more about what makes a hurricane, how it destroys, and what we can do about it. Hurricanes can flood vast regions, dominate oceans, blow down buildings. How did they get this kind of power? How is a hurricane born?
A hurricane is simply a low-pressure area that originates in the tropics or sometimes the subtropics and reaches winds of 74 miles per hour or higher.
Hurricanes need energy, a source of heat to fuel their movement. And the heat comes from the warm oceans of the world. Tropical cyclone-sized storms appear in the Atlantic, the Pacific, and the Indian Oceans, the Bay of Bengal, and the Arabian Sea. They usually form over water that's warmer than 79 degrees Fahrenheit. A series of big thunderstorms gathers. They merge together and start to spin around a low-pressure area. The storm is organizing. Sea conditions worsen. Waves build. The winds speed up. When sustained winds hit 74 miles an hour, it's official. We have a hurricane. This is how it works. Warm seawater makes the air above heat up and rise. An updraft has been created. More air rushes in from the sides to fill in the space. The mighty heart of the hurricane has started to pump. There are 5 levels of hurricane. A Category 1 will take down a few trees and cause flooding, but it's the strong ones that do the serious damage. A Category 5 starting at 156 miles per hour, is devastating. It can pulverize entire cities. Tropical cyclones are called hurricanes only in the Atlantic, with about 6 a year, and the Eastern Pacific, about 10. In the Western Pacific, they're called typhoons, and tropical cyclones everywhere else. But they're all the same kind of massively powerful storm. They all share the same basic anatomy, and we can see it best from space. The outer region of hurricane clouds looks like a spiral galaxy.
You go from enjoying the beauty of hurricanes when they're far out at sea to becoming nervous and in a warning mode to warn people on how to protect themselves, to really an almost sickening feeling when a major hurricane hits a coastline.
The cyclone gets more intense as we get closer to the center, until we hit the region of maximum devastation. This lies in an inner ring called the eyewall, because it surrounds the calm in the center of the hurricane, the eye itself. Let's see the strength of these hurricanes. First, the awesome force of the wind. Hurricane Andrew was small but ferocious. Florida, August 1992. Millions evacuated, taking to the highway as Andrew approached. Coming on quickly like a buzzsaw, Andrew was a Category 5. Miami lies like a bullseye on the tropical Florida coast. Andrew didn't even pause as it took out the southern suburb of the city. Andrew was a severe hurricane, one of the worst. It did more damage in the U.S. than any other hurricane in history. Some $26 billion. More than 25,000 homes were destroyed. Stanley Goldenberg's was one of them. Not only that, he was inside at the time.
We can hear things start to fly around out there. I'm sure we're approaching hurricane force winds.
Storm Week was brought to you by the Home Depot. You can do it. We can help.
If you want to get a jump on spring, you can. And if you want to do it now and pay for it later, you can. Right now at the Home Depot and Expo Design Center, you'll get no payments and no interest for 12 months on everything in the store. Just use your consumer credit card. Or if you don't have one, open a new credit card account and you'll get 10% off your first purchase. You can save up to $200. The Home Depot. You can do it, we can help.
This Easter, why open a few boxes of Jell-O gelatin? Because it stirs the imagination. Because sometimes it wiggles and sometimes it jiggles. Because it could put the hop in a bunny hop. Because it's magic. Because it's Jell-O.
Lisa, what happened?
Greg waited until 9 o'clock last night to get started.
That's when my free minutes kick in. Greg, you're out. Your team should have joined in with Verizon Wireless. Then you could call each other anytime for free. You increase productivity and build unity. You can't do that if you're out.
I thought I was fired.
You are fired, you minute-hoarding clock watcher.
Free in-network calling from Verizon Wireless. Are all your employees in?
Good. Now he means business.
Verizon Wireless. We never stop working for you.
Wherever you go, whatever you do, Honda portable generators make the great outdoors, well, great.
We'll do a little escape. You wanna dream, it's all it takes, yeah!
Hey, it's your life. Turn it on.
Turn it on, baby.
Energizer E-Squared Lithium, the 1AA battery that lasts up to 7 times longer in digital cameras. Do you have the button?
Hooked on movies? Get hooked on Charter Digital. Watch hundreds of movies and great premium channels at the lowest all-digital movies price in America. Upgrade to Charter Digital and get one free Charter On-Demand movie a month for life. With Charter On Demand, you can start movies when you want. Pause, fast forward, and rewind all from your remote. Plus, ask us how you can download and watch movies on your computer with Charter High Speed. Go where satellite can't. Call 1-888-GET-CHARTER and get hooked.
When I shop at Publix, I get a lot more than groceries for the week. I get attention. From a friendly smile and a hello to someone going out of their way to help me. Everyone treats me as if I was the only customer in the store. Someone special. And I'll bet I'm not the only one who feels this way.
Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Andrew shows the power of Category 5 hurricane force winds. The structure of a hurricane may look orderly from here, but if you're down on the ground, it's chaotic. There are isolated wind gusts much stronger than the sustained winds. And what they do to buildings can be surprising. The gusts do damage in streaks. One house or mobile home has gone, but its next-door neighbors are relatively unscathed. Let's go inside one of these gusts. Stanley Goldenberg, a meteorologist, found himself in the heart of one of Andrew's streaks.
You can start to hear the roar outside.
This is Stanley's report from inside Hurricane Andrew and the home video he filmed at the time.
I wish I had a meter. We can hear things start to fly around out there. I'm sure we're approaching hurricane force winds.
We were here during the worst part of the storm. We were first in the hallway, and then we tried to get to the garage, but it was already gone, so we ended up in the kitchen. While we were there, the whole roof had been ripped off of the house, flew over the fence, and smashed right into the neighbor's house. And I believe they were in it at the time.
This is what the neighborhood looked like the next day when Stanley crawled out into the open. His house was totally destroyed, but a few houses along, they're almost unscathed. It's a classic streaky wind pattern. The closer you get to the eye wall, the more extreme the conditions. Almost at the heart of the hurricane, we hit the eye wall, a towering column of storm clouds reaching up 10 miles or more. The eye wall is the danger zone. Why does it get more intense closer to the center? It's a bit like an ice skater. The air entering a hurricane rotates. It has spin. As the air moves closer to the center of the hurricane, it spins faster. It's like when a skater pulls her arms closer to the center. She turns faster. So in a hurricane, the spin at the eye wall is much faster than the spin further out. The eye wall can be the area of ultimate destruction. To understand what that really means, we need to get down off our satellite and go to ground level to meet a man who's actually been in the eye wall, Andrew's eye wall. This residential neighborhood south of downtown Miami felt the full force of Hurricane Andrew's assault on Florida. The eye wall passed right over this spot.
There was a bedroom here, bathroom right here.
The eye wall passed right over this spot. There wasn't much still standing when Hurricane Andrew left town.
And many people that went back couldn't find their homes. The street signs were down, all the tree landmarks were gone, their houses were unrecognizable. They didn't know where they were.
99% of all the mobile homes here were destroyed. 11 years later, there's still nothing. Andrew's winds didn't just hit houses. Across southern Florida, boats were thrown ashore and planes smashed. Andrew's winds may have gusted up to 200 miles per hour. This is about 50 miles an hour. Not a hurricane yet. This is Category 1, a baby as hurricanes go. Category 2 winds will blow you down the street. Do you want to know what Category 3 is actually like? It's not just enough to blow you off your feet and down the road. It's enough to make you fly. They train skydivers here. The effects look like weightlessness. It seems graceful, but hurricane winds can reach 1.5 times this speed. In the open, with no protection, that's not graceful. It's terrifying. When winds with these speeds occur between tall buildings, it's actually possible for this to happen, for the wind to knock people right off their feet. But wind is only one of the hurricane's devastating weapons. If we could predict hurricanes exactly, it would be easier to prepare for them. Sometimes we don't know exactly where they're going, or how hard the wind will blow. Enter the hurricane hunters, and a typhoon that leaves them helpless.
Storm Week was brought to you by Verizon Wireless. We never stop working for you.
Lisa, what happened?
Greg waited until 9 o'clock last night to get started.
That's when my free minutes kick in.
Greg, you're out. Your team should have joined in with Verizon Wireless. Then you could call each other anytime for free. You increase productivity and build unity. You can't do that if you're out.
I thought I was fired.
You are fired, you minute-hoarding clock watcher.
Free in-network calling from Verizon Wireless. Are all your employees in?
Good.
Now he means business.
Verizon Wireless. We never stop working for you.
If you want to get a jump on spring, you can. And if you want to do it now and pay for it later, you can. Right now at the Home Depot and Expo Design Center, you'll get no payments and no interest for 12 months on everything in the store. Just use your consumer credit card. Or if you don't have one, open a new credit card account and you'll get 10% off your first purchase. You can save up to $200. The Home Depot. You can do it, we can help.
One messy house.
Not so bad, right?
One professional organizer.
Well, I have seen worse. Really? No.
And a little give and take. What are you doing? What? Clearing the clutter.
Put the lamp down, Frank.
It's Mission Organization on HGTV. Check your local listings.
Hey! You should see what's on HGTV. You should see.
Tomorrow at 8 p.m., watch Storm Stories. This is no ordinary flood. Imagine being swept away, and your only chance of escape is unable to find you.
I kind of thought it was a lost cause.
Plus, stranded in the roughest, most remote ocean in the world. One crucial mistake leaves rescue days away. How does she survive? Watch Storm Stories tomorrow at 8 Eastern and Pacific, only on the Weather Channel.
the hurricane hunters. As soon as Andrew was within range, they scrambled. One way, a dangerous way, to find out more about a tropical cyclone is to get inside. These Air Force Reserve hurricane hunters have given us new insights, but the storms stay one step ahead. Their nature is unpredictable. Flying straight into the hurricane, they drop these probes which go right through the heart of the hurricane. They transmit information about temperature, pressure, wind speed, and humidity. It all helps in measuring the hurricane's strength and track. Three days before Andrew hit land, it was only a tropical storm. But Andrew was getting more violent. The scientists needed to know how violent and how quickly it was intensifying. Hurricanes may be massive and powerful, but forecasting them is still a challenge. Only some of them hit land, and that's when the destruction usually starts. Typhoon Faye from 1995 shows how huge waves can devastate, sinking more than 70 ships. Heusan Harbor in Korea isn't a good place to be when a typhoon hits. These massive freighters were carefully secured. It wasn't good enough. This ship was torn loose and headed for the rocks. Crew members could only cling to their vessel. Some of them didn't make it. Hurricane winds act on the sea's surface over great distances, and for a long time to produce these gigantic waves. Waves do massively more damage than wind moving at the same speed. Water carries almost 1,000 times more energy than air. And it's not just winds and waves. Hurricanes also destroy with rain. Look at what Hurricane Mitch did when it deluged Central America in 1998. It picked up massive amounts of water over the sea and dropped it as rain. Rain's a crafty customer. Hour after hour, it builds up to one of the most damaging forces on Earth. Water in a hurricane is propelled by powerful winds. It can worm its way in through every crack and crevice. But rain doesn't just wreck buildings. Hurricane Mitch spent nearly 6 days around Honduras and Nicaragua. 35 inches of rain fell on some mountain areas. Mitch traveled slowly, pretty much at a walking pace, and that's what made its rainfall so destructive. Prolonged saturation. Overwhelmed by this amount of water, rivers topped their banks and massive flooding occurred. Buildings on steep slopes became vulnerable as mud began to flow downhill. People in the valleys were in great peril. The streets of the capital became rivers. Buildings were washed away. The crater of the Las Casitas volcano overflowed with rainwater from Hurricane Mitch. That caused mudslides, rivers of mud, rocks, and boulders flowing onto the town below. But even rain isn't a hurricane's last weapon. It has one more up its sleeve, one that is truly terrifying. It can be more deadly than wind, waves, or rain.